Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself, Suprit, and this is your AEW Rampage review for August 13, 2021, the debut show for Rampage, joined by Abhishekh and AJ. What's up, baby?
Absolutely fine, Suprit. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. And what you think about Rampage, the debut show?
Uh, I thought that it was a pretty good show for the world premiere. Uh, what did you think about this?
I liked it because of the pacing, because the pacing compared to the dynamites we have seen for the last year, it was way better. Like the segment they had, every segment matches, got the correct time. It didn't feel like rushed like we usually see on Dynamite.
Hmm. Agreed.
And
Agreed.
and regarding this same topic, the um, with Rampage now finally coming. So, what do you think the future of Dynamite will be? Should they, continue with this rushed segments that they have been doing, or uh, from the future they should start, considering cutting these segments or cutting these matches?
Uh, we will, uh, the rushed segments, it is one of those things that there are, so many talents you have to feature, so many storylines, and you have 2 hours. And the fact is that there is also this thing that uh, the audience attention span is so small in today's day and age, so you have to keep that pace so that their attention doesn't go away. So you have to keep that pace. Probably it is very essential, I don't know, in today's day and age, so they keep that rushed pace. So I don't know, it looks rushed, absolutely. That is the promos. They could be a little, yes, they can be slowed down. You can get the fans invested, get them in, uh, you know in the story, that what is happening, what is not. Absolutely, they can do that. Let's say now they have 1 more hour, of television, so they can, push the things that they were doing prior on Dynamite on that show. So now they have room of 3 hours on television. So let's say probably, Dynamite won't feel, as you said, rushed, so to speak. So let's see, probably it would be for the better. And, guys like CM Punk, Brian Danielson, when they would, enter the realm of AEW, and you give them the microphone, you cannot, make them rush things. You know, if you have to get them connected with the fans, they need some, time, and, you can say the openness, so as to get their points across and stuff like that. So you will have to give them the time, and you will not have to rush things, or else it would, their promos would go flat, just like Cody's promo did at the end of the Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes match did. In my opinion, it did, and many of the promos prior they have done. Cody's promos now do not feel as good as they did uh, in the start of AEW. So probably now things would, change for the better.
And with that topic, what do you think about Rampage staying a 1 hour show, or should they consider a 2 hour concept like Dynamite? Because I like these 1 hour wrestling shows because it's easy to digest, etc., etc., and it reminds me of the old NXT, similar type of vibe.
Hmm. Yes, yes, absolutely. Right now, the 1 hour concept is good. They should keep that, and also it is very, you know, essential for AEW, so as to first they will have to make sure that now they have 3 hours to book, plus the shows on YouTube. So they have to book, 3 hours of television, and they have to keep it interesting. So that is also a, challenge for them now. So let's see. Now it is a challenge for them, and now they will have to, you know, go with the flow and, keep it interesting for the, foreseeable future. And if they, succeed in that, then they would, think about, having the second hour. And also when, they have talents, uh, on their roster, that they see that yes, we can, book 4 hours on television without any problem. And all across the globe we have such a brand that there is demand for 4 hours of television from us, from All Elite Wrestling. So it would, absolutely it would happen. But first, now the challenge is 3 hours of television, book, interesting, content. So first of all, do that, and do it consistently, week after week, for the foreseeable future.
And for the debut show card, this was, you could say it was stacked. Like we didn't have one, two, but three championship matches. So we had the Impact World Championship between Kenny Omega and Christian Cage. We had a TNT Championship match between Miro and Fuego del Sol. And in the main event, they booked a AEW Women's Championship match against Dr. Britt Baker and Red Velvet. But before that, if you're new to Slamhub Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check out our other content. Everything you need will be in the description below. But before we start talking about the matches, what do you think about the commentary booth here, the commentary team? They had four people on commentary.
Hmm. Uh, you know, After the first match happened, I, got to the conclusion that, first match, you saw that there were, yes, as you said, four commentators. They were consistently talking. There was one or the other person was talking, and we didn't hear a thing of the fans, what they were chanting and what was happening. Jericho was saying the crowd is hot, blah blah blah. Agreed.
He was
But
shouting.
what were they?
Jericho
Yes,
was
he was
shouting on
shouting.
comment.
Yes, excitement. Adrenaline. Get the fans, excited for the show. No problem. But we weren't able to get what the fans were chanting. That were they behind Christian? Were they behind Omega? And what were they chanting at different points of the match? And were they 50-50? What was happening? It takes away from the match a slight, and it takes away from the experience of us who are watching at home. you know Consistently there was some voice who, which was, you know overshadowing the, action. So it took, a little, it was a bit. But
Annoying.
you know yes, but it, feedback from us and other people on, social media, and also from backstage, it would only help in the future episodes, and for the commentary team to, work a little, better or something like that. So learning, it is a learning experience, of course.
Or they should have went with a two-man booth. Go simple. Go the simple route.
They could, maybe, it was, some concept. Probably it was inspired from WCW, from a specific timeline. They had a, probably a 3-man or a 4-man booth at some point. And one of the guys, just like at this point, Mark Henry, went and he did the job of the, interviewer. So probably I'm just, throwing it out there. Maybe there was a point because in the 90s, I wasn't a, WCW, viewer. So maybe, I have seen, WCW, now and, in the, recent years. So probably there was a time. So maybe it is inspired from that time. And Tony Khan, it is documented that he has been a huge WCW fan. So probably it is inspired from that. So it could very well be, and probably it would work. Let's see.
And that's why, for some reason, I was advocating for Mauro Ronaldo. Give a Mauro Ronaldo the lead commentator role. You can put in Mark Henry or Excalibur. And speaking about Excalibur, he's really doing a great job, leading these guys on commentary.
Yes, absolutely. He's doing a phenomenal job. And, credit where it's due, absolutely. I would,
And
agree with your words.
and about Chris Jericho, I think the dude needs to tone down the shouting. Other than that, he's good.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And probably, you can also, take that probably the presence of these legends, Mark Henry, Taz, and Chris Jericho, probably it is also there on the commentary booth so that, it gets fans, in to watch Rampage, because there are legends and they have a, you know, still fan following or stuff like that. So that also sometimes, gets the fans in to watch your new show. So probably that would also be the reason as to why they are put in specifically on that show. Could very well be.
But let's get down with the action, man. So they opened with the Impact World Championship match. It was Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. Can you give us some backstory on how we got to this point?
Uh, you know, Probably it was, I guess, March or something like that, where they had a little, back and forth. Christian Cage and Kenny Omega, that, I would be challenging you for the world championship or stuff like that. And right now, as we have seen throughout the weeks now, Christian has, climbed up the ranks, so to speak, and, he has gotten a chance for the, championship, and he is challenging for the AEW World Championship at All Out. So for the Impact World Championship, it was a surprise decision, and it was made between uh, CEO of Impact Wrestling, Scott Demore, and Tony Khan. Basically, they want, Kenny Omega out of their, hairs, so to speak. They do not want him as their world champion, their representative, so to speak. And Kenny Omega and Don Callis and the Elite have created havoc on both the promotions. So basically, they do not want him as world champion, as per the story we have seen. So they have booked him just, days, prior into the Impact World Championship match. So we have it today.
And remember when Tony Khan was kind of against Impact Wrestling?
Yes, and I also remember then I, spoke, promo, so to speak, and after that it just stopped. And
What
after
happened?
that,
What happened?
his, the paid ads got stopped, and 1 or 2 weeks after that their time slots changed, because I guess NXT moved somewhere, and then Impact had to change to Thursdays, I guess. So there was no chance of, or no, uh, benefit of going to the paid ads, because previously Impact was airing on Tuesdays. So then they could have promoted AEW on Tuesdays. They were doing that with the paid ads, but I cut a quote unquote promo on this podcast that on Tony Khan, on his stuff that he did on AEW Dark with regards to Kenny Omega, whoa 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 and stuff like that. So after that, it just stopped.
So he took your comments to heart, I believe.
Uh, yes, and we have heard it from many people, if we have been following social media and stuff like that, that yes, wrestlers in today's day and age, they follow social media very closely, every comment, every podcast and stuff like that. And I also got visits from MJF and Tully Blanchard on my Facebook account. Their personal accounts were in my suggestions after that uh, quote unquote promo. I know his real name and MJF's real name, and he whatever his personal life is, but I will not discuss any of that. But the fact is that yes, they did. Everybody in the locker room saw that promo. I am very well aware of that.
But let's get down with the match. This match was really, really good, man. Like
Uh,
even the crowd here in Pittsburgh, like Christian was getting a mild, kind of a low reaction on Dynamite, but here at least the fans were into it because this is kind of a dream match.
yes, agreed. And also the initial back and forth, when they started, and Christian gave the this, that also got the crowd into it, and you know they were into it after that.
So let's talk some highlights here. So the match kind of started a little slow. Christian already was countering the one-winged angel with the kill switch. So Omega kind of escaped here. So we had a distraction from Callis while Christian was on the top rope. So Omega pushes Christian to the floor. So from there, Omega was in full control. So there was one point where Christian was going for a spear, but Omega stops it with a simple knee lift. That was a great spot. After that, Christian was getting some near falls after a spear, a splash, etc. So what happened was Callis. So he once again, got involved, started distracting the ref again. And let me tell you, this is the longest ref distraction in the history of our sports. So while this is going on, Omega low blows Christian in his instant classics. So we see the Young Bucks coming out slowly, quietly with a steel chair. So they pass it to Omega. Omega is, about to hit Christian with a one-winged angel on the chair, but this backfires because Christian, he hits the kill switch on the chair. Omega sold it beautifully. So Christian got the 1, 2, 3. Christian Cage is your new Impact World Champion. Like I said, match was really good, and I actually don't have a problem with the outcome here. What do you think about it?
Yes, I also thought that match was great, entertaining, insane ending. It was highly competitive, many near falls, nothing fancy, you know, just straight, professional wrestling. It was a great match, and I said it, on Twitter also, that I gave this, idea of Christian challenging for the Impact World Championship, on the March 10th edition of our, podcast of AEW Dynamite, and I was very happy that it manifested on the world premiere of Rampage. And I also said that if Christian wins the Impact World Championship, so it won't be any issue with regards to Kenny Omega, because he has the other championships in his in his bag. So if he loses, it won't lower his stock, and it would legitimize Christian Cage as being legit, so to speak, and outwork everyone. His motto was, now he's not parading with that at this point. But yes, whatever happened, you also are saying the same thing, that we have no problem with Christian Cage winning this match and taking away the Impact World Championship. And people also with the reaction, there is no problem as to Christian being the Impact World Championship holder at this point.
By the
It's
way,
great.
are you aware of the Triple Mania results?
Yes. Kenny Omega retained the AAA Mega Championship. I thought
Really?
that he would be losing. Yes, he retained against Andrade, and Ric Flair also. Ric Flair was in the corner of Andrade,
What?
and yes,
Ric Flair
and
in AAA?
yes,
Am I dreaming?
you absolutely not.
Uh-oh.
It their match felt like you can say a Mexican WrestleMania, so to speak, and it very well is. Sports entertainment spectacle, straight up, wrestling match. It was a good match, solid.
Okay, so Omega retained the AAA championship. So, but still, you could say we might be seeing glimpses of the downfall of Mr. Kenny Omega.
Hmm. It seems so. Let's see, what happens. The fact is that Kenny Omega had Conan in his corner, and Andrade also lost with a little. You can say there was a belt in play, and he didn't lose clean, obviously. And Andrade also teased a future confrontation. So let's see, it would probably happen once again in the near future. Don't know if it's AEW, if it's in AEW or it's in Lucha Libre AAA. Let's see when and where it happens, but it's interesting.
So, but before we move on, let's talk about his match again. Christian Cage is massively underrated, man, and Kenny Omega is just the best.
Yes, it was a solid match. There wasn't any, you can say, if you look at the whole, match, you wouldn't find any, single, thing to, criticize or say that there was a botch or something like that. It was straight up, fucking solid, straight wrestling, match. And they, Kenny Omega also somewhat replicated that on Triple Mania against Andrade. Tried to, obviously. And there weren't any, fancy moves which Andrade did in NXT that which wowed the crowd. Nothing at Triple Mania.
Maybe I'll go out of my way
Sol-
and check that match out. But enough of Triple Mania. So now we see what happens at All Out. So Ridwan on the Dynamite review, he was saying that we might see some hot shots, some shenanigans regarding Christian Cage's journey to All Out. Maybe now that this match is done with the Impact World Championship, I think we don't get Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Title at All Out.
Mm-hmm. I I think that they can get this match, and probably they will, because now Kenny Omega has, a reason. Now he has to avenge his loss, so he can get this match, and all out at all out we can get this match. Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship, and Kenny Omega would win.
He should.
There would be obviously, yes, he should, and there would be some stuff involved. Obviously, he's a heel, and the score would be one apiece. Christian 1-1 and Kenny 1-1. So it, for the time being, it would go away. There won't be a third match, for the foreseeable future. So Kenny, he leaves with the AEW World Championship, and Christian has the Impact World Championship. So then post match there could be someone, probably CM Punk or probably someone else, from the Bullet Club, something like that, who can challenge for the championship next. So we can see whatever happens, or it can happen on Dynamite. However it plays out. So let's see. And
Yes.
yes, I was just saying this last. I'm just concluding.
Go
There
on.
was this thing that I said in the past. I guess the last review, that when Hangman Page returns, so uh, the Elite, they said that we have no place for failures like you. We are draped in gold and stuff. So he can go for the TNT championships and join them, so to speak. So he can also go for some championship from Impact Wrestling, if Chris Bay is holding that prior to that, because Chris Bay has joined the Bullet Club, and I am sensing that there is Bullet Club versus Elite happening very soon. So, and I guess the New Japan show today also had a confrontation between the God and the Good Brothers. So,
Oh man, why did you spoil that for me, man? Oh
well,
shit.
I thought that you.
Oh no.
So,
Anyways, man, anyways. Okay. I will. Nothing happened here. You don't spoil anything for me. But sticking to the topic here.
yes,
Let's see, man. Things are coming off really interesting. Lot of scenarios.
lot of things,
Yeah,
lot of
including
things
all,
happened today.
including all this promotion. But good times ahead, man. Especially at All Out.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
moving on, so when this was all done, so Mark Henry, so he was doing a backstage interview with Christian Cage. So he and the Jurassic Express were celebrating with a little bit of the bubbly. So Jungle Boy thought this was a beer shampoo and started pouring on his hair. I don't know why. So while this interview was going on, in the background we see Orange Cassidy. He was just chilling. Maybe I think he wants a potential match with Christian for the Impact Championship. Who knows?
Yes, and I'm sensing that after Cassidy, or it could very well be that Jungle Boy would be next in line, and you know there was something like that probably I saw, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a backstage promo where Jurassic Express and Christian Cage were, you know, talking shit, about the Elite, something like that. So I saw, Jungle Boy eyeing Christian Cage with a certain look. So I am thinking that probably Jungle Boy would be turning on Christian Cage soon.
or
Just
vice versa, or vice versa.
vice versa is vice versa is a little predictable, so to speak. If you want someone to be hot in 2021, you would turn him heel. You want Jungle Boy to be hot, you want to turn him heel.
Jungle Boy is a heel. I don't know, man. I think as of now he's doing very well as a hot baby face.
You can say that, but he is not being featured as much on AEW television. You can say that, but when you see the AEW crowd and the fan base of AEW and today's hardcore fan base, they cheer more for the heels. So if even if Jungle Boy turns on Christian, eventually what would happen, that crowd would start booing Christian. Even if Jungle Boy is quote unquote heel, but the fans would be behind him. That would be the mindset of Tony Khan.
Don't know about that, but they could do a Christian Jungle Boy feud program, whatever you want to call it.
Soon, yes.
But that's that. So let's move on to the next championship match. It was for the TNT championship match. This was Miro. So he was defending the title against Fuego del Sol. But we also had a stipulation where if Fuego wins, he not just becomes TNT champion, but he also gets an AEW contract. So they featured a video package, hyping up this match where we heard from both men. So about the match lasted just a few minutes. Like Fuego, he jump started before the bell even rang. He jump started. He hits a tornado DDT on Miro. So when the match finally began, he just going after Miro. He hits two more DDTs, but only gets a near fall. So I think Fuego was going for a third DDT. So Miro catches him, hits a Samoan drop. We see a thrust kick and the game over submission, and that's it. A quick victory for Miro, God's favorite champion. And that's it, man. Thoughts on this one?
Yes, I thought that it was a as it should have been match. It was a great match, in my opinion. That as it should have been. You couldn't have had it any other way, so to speak, in this scenario. So it was a pretty entertaining match, so to speak. As you said, that Fuego just from the start going for his finisher and ramming it on Miro, trying to get the victory, trying to get a career contract, so to speak. But Miro is Miro. There is no one inside there who can put him down. So he got the victory.
So let's get down with the post match, the good stuff. So Miro, so he was celebrating and tears up the contract that was supposed to go to Fuego. So Fuego is alone in the ring. So crowd is cheering him up. So Sammy Guevara shows up with Tony Khan. And so those who don't know, Fuego and Sammy Guevara, they are best buds, very tight unit over there. So he says that there is victory after defeat. And even though he is 1-50, the people still love him. So therefore, Tony Khan has told him to inform Fuego that he's all elite. What a moment, man. Like that was
Indeed.
genuine moment over there. Like even Fuego didn't see that coming.
Absolutely. It was a great moment. And even the reports also told in a way that it was a shoot, so to speak. So, indeed, a great moment on television. And, there are, uh, things, always there are comparisons, AEW versus WWE, so as to get the crowd, riled up against one another. So, there was probably a tweet from someone, probably it was Brian Alvarez. It was that imagine, getting rewarded for getting over. And,
That was actually a
you
great tweet from him.
know,
Like,
you
uh,
know,
think about it, man. Like this guy over here, like for the last year during the pandemic period, like he was traveling to Jacksonville, and while there was no indies and stuff, he was traveling to Jacksonville, getting featured on Dark, and working hard, and he got himself over on a YouTube vlog, and
yes,
finally got a contract. Like I know AW is sometimes known as all friends wrestling, but this guy deserved it.
yes, hard work, you know, it said that, should pay off, so to speak, or, it pays off at the end. You know, what is meant for you always, finds you at the right time. And regarding the all friends wrestling, so to speak, it is in every company. It is just that people do not, propagate it on, you know, on social media, or else it is prevalent in every company. WWE, there are, the Anoa'i family, that there are many other, small, you can say family relations or stuff like that. You have good rapport with them from ages, or friends, they get, preference over the other people who are hardworking, who are, you know, good for the job, or who are qualified, or even overqualified for the job. That is everywhere. Politics, kiss ass, that is everywhere. you know and even, you can say, I do not want to say that, Rob. In some cases, is it good or is it bad? you know Nonetheless, even for example, in Impact Wrestling, you can see that, the women's champions, whoever it is it boyfriend or is it husband, he is also employed there at this point. So, it is everywhere. At this, it is a workplace. It is everywhere across the globe. You can't help. But
But
here, great moment for Fuego del Sol. Absolutely amazing.
so as we move on, we see Sting and Darby Allen. So they were in the Raptors. So they quickly plug in next week's Rampage in Chicago in the United Center, the biggest crowd in AEW history. Can't wait.
Can't wait. I, I, joined back, or came back to wrestling. I was a lapsed fan in 2011. So I came back to wrestling in 2011 when CM Punk, dropped the pipe bomb, so to speak. And his storyline was so intriguing. So I got to know of it, and I joined back, watching wrestling. And I have been, watching wrestling ever since. And, CM Punk has a, special place, in, here. So there's that. I am a huge fan of him. Whether, whatever he has said, or whatever, the fuck people can say about him, the fact is that he has, you know, seen, and he has been through enough, stuff in his, life, in his family, and, also in the workplace. That is all, the stuff that makes you. And, whatever he has earned and where he is, it's all him. Whatever the fuck, you know, it is him. People can, hate him or whatever, they can love him. It is him. And selling out the United Center in just, less than a week's notice, that speaks to the guy's, stardom.
Imagine if he doesn't show up at the United Center and shows up the next day on SummerSlam.
I would be pissed.
And imagine Daniel Bryan not showing up at the New York show, and he shows up at NXT TakeOver in the Performance Center.
I can drop, another thing which happened today, which also, you can say solidifies that Punk is indeed coming. So,
are you spoiling something
former
for me?
champion returned.
Are you spoiling something for me?
I shouldn't.
Yeah, you can spoil
Watch
anything.
the New Japan show.
Okay. I want to watch that once we are done here.
Yes, absolutely. But, also CM Punk, does commentary for CFFC. So he also, made an inside joke with saying All Elite and stuff like that on today's, show of CFFC. So, he is doing his shit, trolling or whatever the fuck. But at this point, I see that this time, it is real, it is happening. You cannot deny, that it is not happening. It is happening.
One more week, man. One more week.
Yes.
But let's quickly get into the main event stuff. So I think we had somewhat of an interview with Mark Henry. So he was talking to both of the champion and challengers for the main event, both Britt Baker and Red Velvet. So Red Velvet was saying that she is going to embarrass Baker again in her hometown, while Baker confidently says that she'll still be the AEW Women's Champion, and that's pretty much it. So before we talk about the match, do you believe that they should have put a solid, proper heel against Britt Baker in this scenario? Like you could have put in a Nyla Rose or someone like that instead of a Red Velvet, or they were just going with a good opponent for Britt Baker, and that was Red Velvet. Like what happened here?
I don't know, man. They could have, in the ideal, set of circumstances, they should have, because it is her hometown. So they should have, done that, pitting her against a heel. So, they could have done, they have done, that putting Red Velvet, as an opponent, because they were going for this, the injury story. So, the injury story also went into play, that the fact is that they want to portray Britt Baker as a heel. Still, they want to portray her as a cool heel. And they want to, get the story in of her injury, that she has an injury. Yes, it is a mismatch. It doesn't match. It doesn't, and right now it doesn't make sense, so to speak, that, she is here, she is a fan favorite, and then the heel antics of the manager also came into play, Rebel. And the story is her injury. It is a huge mismatch. But, you know, Tony Khan and the other people, they went through with this match because, you know, hometown, the injury, and, you know, they just wanted her out in the, you know, fucking arena. That was basically it. They booked her with anyone just for one match, which doesn't have long term implications. They just wanted her one match at the hometown. She gets a huge pop. They get it for the, you know, cameras. That was pretty much it. I don't think that, you know, there was any other, you know, you can say push for any, you know, other stuff they had, that it was very essential for her to be booked, because I think that the injury probably is legit, and we saw that she was also selling that because she wasn't able to punch. She was trying to, but she wasn't able to punch, or probably she was selling. I don't know, but it uh, the story was her homecoming,
But
pretty much.
let's talk about the match. So this was Britt Baker versus Red Velvet for the AEW Women's Championship. So match was really good. I will give that. But problem was that both women they were working as heels, even Britt Baker for most parts. But crowd here is full pro Britt Baker. Like they are completely shitting on Red Velvet. So at least that saved this entire match. So we did see some good wrestling from the get go, but the main story, like you said, was the injured hand or arm, you could say, of Britt Baker. So Velvet was continuously targeting the injured hand. We also see some involvement of Reba, and also there was one point where Red Velvet locked in a lockjaw of her own, but the Baker did a great job escaping that. We saw some near falls, big moves being exchanged. Baker even hit a Ushi Goroshi. Shout out to Bay Bay. I love that. So final parts of the match. So Baker was kind of having trouble, locking in the lockjaw, but because of the injured hand, of course. But she transitions and uses the other good hand to complete the submission, and that got her the win. Velvet taps out. She is still Britt Baker is still women's champion, and there you go.
Yes. No,
We
it is the yes, please.
yeah, go on, go on.
Uh, Basically, you know, they it looks like that you know, the character is the cool heel, so to speak. That is what probably they are going for. But you know, it whatever happened, it was not, you know, matching, so to speak. As you said, both were trying to, you know, work as heels, you know, and also at one point it happened that, you know, Velvet had the hand of you know, Britt Baker, and you know, she had it you know, on the her foot, you know, and she was about to stomp it. She had it, you know, locked in, and she was about to stomp it repeatedly, but she didn't. She just you know, stopped, and the commentators were also confused, and I was also confused that what is happening. Probably she, you know, thought that I am not a veteran, so to speak, and I may get you know, a lot of ear, so to speak, in the back if I do a thing to her injured hand, which is probably legit. So she didn't do that. And if she did that, it could have had a lot of reaction from the crowd. She could have been showered with booze and not the alcohol, and it could have gotten people more invested in the match. But you know, don't know
I
what.
just had a random thought. You were explaining this sport to me with Red Velvet. You put in
Yes,
a pro like Serena Deeb in that position, nuclear aid.
absolutely. She would have stormed it multiple times and then stopped and then again.
Like
No.
there would have been a riot in Pittsburgh. That's how good Serena Deeb is. But unfortunately, she is out with an injury.
Yes. No. And you know, as you know, your initial question was, basically that they could have had Britt Baker playing the fan favorite, the baby face, so to speak, and Rel Whitfield being the heel throughout. So that would have been a lot, more simpler throughout the match. It would not have been, so much, cognitive dissonance in between our heads, that who should we root for, what is happening, and stuff like that. And nonetheless, sometimes clear roles is very effective, so as to get the story going, and even for the match, of course. But nonetheless,
So shall we talk about the post-match angle?
yes, absolutely.
So post-match, instead of celebrating, Baker, still want to beat down, Red Velvet. She was about to stomp Red Velvet on the championship belt, but here comes Chris Statlander. She comes for Baker, and the crowd boos, which is not good. Understandable. It's in Pittsburgh, so this is Britt Baker territory. So the baby faces are getting booed here, but here comes in a hooded figure, and I said, "Look out! It's Becky Lynch." But no, it's not Becky Lynch. It's not Becky Lynch, folks. It's Jamie Hayter. She's back on AEW. So she was, beating up the baby faces, assisting the doctor here. So Baker finally, stomps Red Velvet on the championship belt, and that's how the show went off air, with Baker and Jamie Hayter standing tall. And did you know, Abby, that Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker was a match in AEW Dynamite before the pandemic in Pittsburgh?
No.
So there you go. It was kind of, you could say, long-term storytelling. But there you go, man. Jamie Hayter
Wow.
is now in AEW. You could say she's a good end. Heard a lot of good things, from you could say, the people who watch Stardom and stuff. Like she's a good wrestler. And I think she was NXT UK bound. But AEW luckily snatched her.
Right.
Like she's from the same group of people like Tony Storm, B Priestley. She's from that group. So she would have mostly
Mhm.
went there, but I think AEW, got the chance and brought her to AEW. So I think AEW was a better choice compared to going to the UK. That too in NXT.
Obviously, AW would have offered a lot more, money. Obviously, uh, you know, if you compare it with NXT, NXT UK or NXT, NXT money, and if you compare it with what AW offers, obviously, it is a no-brainer going with the AW.
So that's why we have, Bebe coming in here as well. He's going to be all elite in a couple of weeks. Who knows?
People are saying that, let's see, there could only be, I also heard it on, keeping it 100 of, Conan and Disco Inferno, that, the only thing, and it is also common sense, that, can keep, Adam Cole on, a WWE, that could be, main roster money, good money, and we have heard about that $1 million contract, and it could be a main event push, main event, or a good, push and storylines for the, for the future, so to speak. That, you can see that, your future is somewhat, secured, so to speak. And these two things are very essential. If he does not get that, then obviously he would be, heading towards all elite wrestling. And if he is still in NXT, no chance. He is, if the choice is between AEW and NXT, obviously the person is going AEW, because AEW would offer more money. NXT money is of no comparison. He would have to be making main roster money and the push, which I just said. So let's see. You are saying that he probably is coming to All Elite Wrestling post SummerSlam weekend. So let's see.
So any final words regarding this potential, pair up of Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter?
Previously, I read on Twitter that it probably could be the previously Iconics that who would be joining in. Now seeing Jamie Hayter, I do not have any prior any, you can say, with regards to the mindset that how it will be in the future, but I am optimistic so as to the future, that what happens now, with regards to Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, and now you also have of the previously Rebel with that. So let's see how this group comes about in the future. So hoping for the best, obviously. So let's see.
But that was Rampage, man. The debut show.
Yes.
But it was pretty good, and we are eagerly waiting for that second show, man. That's the big thing here.
Absolutely. Waiting for it.
But before we leave, Abby, where can these guys find you?
Guys, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at AbbyManiac.
And you can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamhubW, Instagram at Slamhub Wrestling. You can catch this review on audio version in Anchor and Spotify as well. So this was the AEW Rampage review, and see you guys next time.